Hello out there, and welcome to the No Shit Cast. I'm your host, Matt Frazier. My co-pilot for this evening, none other than the great wizard of historical knowledge himself, Mr. Eric D. Smith. How you doing there tonight, buddy?
Dynamic. Very dynamic.
Dynamic. That's a good word tonight, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. You thought about that before this show, though, didn't you?
Like in the first 20 seconds before you said something, I'm like, how do I feel? Dynamic.
How do I really feel? Well, I got some fun stuff to talk about tonight, man. Well, I think it's fun. I think it's it's funny because I've started picking these topics now to see how hard I can make you laugh.
All right. We're off to a good start.
Let's see what happens here, huh? I guess a little housekeeping. We did some work on the podcast this past week as far as cleaning up some URLs and RSS feeds and different stuff. So if for some reason the show stops showing up on your favorite service, it might take a day or two for the RSS feeds to update. So we should be back. I think I got everybody either emailed of the change as far as the providers and stuff, emailed of the changes or already changed. If you're on iTunes, you won't see any difference. YouTube's fine. Spotify, all those different places, they seem to all be good. It's kind of the different ones, the littler ones, I suppose, that I'm not sure about yet. So, you know, we're fixing stuff, growing, making things better, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to kick it off tonight with a article. This is a medical article.
Cool.
Okay. This is got medical ramifications.
Well, I'm almost 50, so that's good.
The headline. This is from Big Think. Does swallowing sperm really reduce the risk of recurring miscarriage?
Recurring miscarriage.
A new study finds a relationship between how often women gave their partners oral sex and the number of miscarriages they'd endured. While it demonstrates correlation, the study does not prove causation. The study will undoubtedly be the catalyst for further studies into this area.
Dang, I mean, I can't see how it would matter, but I think the stomach acid's pretty strong, but I don't know.
A new study published by the Journal of Reproductive Immunology on March 27th suggests that women who more frequently gave their partners oral sex and swallowed were less likely to suffer recurring miscarriages.
Maybe they're just not as uptight. I don't know.
Are you saying maybe it's like, okay, well, we're chilled out here kind of thing? And,
yeah, I mean,
that's
maybe
having some physiological.
Yeah, because I don't think it would have to do with the sperm they swallowed, I don't think.
I wouldn't think so.
No. Because that would be destroyed in the stomach acid. So I'm guessing it might be indicative of maybe their lifestyle choices or how open or closed they are in a sexual sense, maybe?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Right here in the headline, it says, while it demonstrates correlation, the study does not prove causation.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So it's a study, and there's probably going to be a lot more that comes behind this. But I couldn't pass up that headline for the
well, it's mystifying for sure.
Right? In the study, Dutch researchers compared the habits of 97 women who had suffered recent recurrent miscarriage, defined as the loss of 3 or more consecutive pregnancies, to 137 women who did not. It was found that the women who did not endure recurring miscarriages were performing markedly more oral sex on their partners than the members of the former group. What markedly? I wonder what the
I don't know, man.
Here, honey, I need some markedly level of sexification here, right?
Maybe it's all just a plot to get women to do what they want or something.
Well, let's be clear. This is a clickbaity headline that I grabbed off the internet. So, take it with a grain of salt, as it were. No. Of the women with recurring miscarriages, a little more than half were giving oral sex. Nearly 75% of the other group reported doing so. Now, this is all just correlation right now, and we all know that correlation does not prove causation. The scientists have yet to identify a mechanism that relates giving oral sex and having fewer miscarriages. That's what you were getting at.
Hell, at least there's scientists working on it.
Hey, man, this is like cutting edge society.
Cutting edge, waste of time.
Society altering. It also relies entirely on self-reporting by a small number of test subjects.
Just three people we know.
It's better to give than to receive. At this point, we don't know if the results aren't caused by other factors. Suppose that the women who enjoy giving oral sex are just somehow inclined to have fewer miscarriages, for example. However, the study could be the basis for further investigation into the issue that does find something more tangible. So, there you go.
All right.
Thought I'd throw that one out there.
The Dutch is on it.
Hey, someone's spending money on this shit, man.
The Dutch, apparently.
Maybe it's a bigger deal with that culture. I don't know. I thought they just had wooden shoes.
Oh,
there goes any chance of subscribership
from people wearing sabbats.
This comes from Gizmodo. Doctors had to put out a fire in patient's chest during open heart surgery.
Yeah, he had a burning desire, didn't he?
I mean, how things going from bad to worse? I'm not sure.
You mean like the surgeon was like smoking a cigarette or something?
I don't. An Australian patient's life-saving surgical procedure went up in flames. A lot of weird shit happens in Australia, man. They got like insects that'll kill you. And unfortunately, we don't mean that figuratively. Doctors say their attempts to perform emergency heart surgery on the man went slightly awry at one point.
Slightly. Get the article that talks about the things that went terribly awry. See what that says. Chest exploded. Alien came out during heart surgery. Shit. But slightly awry. We just had a small fire in the upper quadrant of the heart. It's fine.
I mean, it's not, slightly awry. When a flash fire sparked in the man's cracked open chest cavity. Amazingly, the doctors were able to put out the fire and complete the surgery with no other complications.
Good for them.
The strange case was reported by the doctors this weekend at the Uranaesthesia Congress. Uranaesthesia. My daughter could probably pronounce that. Congress. The annual convention of European Society of Anesthesiology. Oh, that makes make a lot more sense now.
Euroanesthesiology?
Yeah, Euroanesthesia Congress. Yeah. According to the report, the 60-year-old had suffered an ascending aortic dissection. Ugh, that sounds painful. A potentially fatal rupture in the inner wall of the major artery that pumps blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. As a result, he quickly needed surgery to repair the tear, but the man's underlying lung problems, particularly his chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, would complicate the procedure in an unexpected way. In order to reach his heart, the doctors had to crack open his sternum, the bone, smack in the middle of our chest, but the man's right lung was stuck to the sternum.
Oops.
With bits of damaged lung tissue called bullua being the main problem. Bullua are blisters filled with air that often form in people with COPD, and as the doctors tried to carefully pull off the right lung from the sternum, they punctured one of these, causing a major air leak
of oxygen.
To make sure the patient wouldn't go into respiratory distress, a condition where the lungs fill with fluid, effectively drowning you. More anesthesia was pumped into the patient, and the flow of air he was receiving via ventilator was changed to 100%
oxygen.
Part of the surgery required the use of an electrocautery, a device that uses heat, electrocautery.
Electrocatheterizer or something like that?
Yeah, electrocautery.
Cauterizer?
Yeah, a device that uses heat to burn away or cut through tissue. There was also a dry surgical pack near the man's chest cavity, a bundle used to carry sterilized surgical instruments. Soon after the man's air was changed, a spark from the device landed on the dry pack, and thanks to the very oxygen-rich air around the man's chest, created a flash fire.
Damn.
I tell you what, man, liquid oxygen, pure oxygen.
Yeah, it's volatile.
You don't want to mess with that shit,
Kills
man.
Bacteria, too.
We used to have to watch this video because we put oxygen bottles, called them LOX bottles, in the airplanes. And we had to watch this video called The Man from LOX.
Yeah.
And it was like all the horrendous shit that can happen if you don't handle that stuff well. No, it's crazy. So there you go, man. That was a good, doctors had to put out a fire in patient's chest.
Yeah. I can see how it would happen. It's unfortunate for the guy. I guess it probably didn't hurt him much, though.
Doesn't seem like it. He survived it. And now he has that distinction, like being a guy that
survived the fire when he was having surgery.
Nobody can kill me. Give me another cigarette. I don't know if I want to cover this, to be honest with you. Can you tell me, House Judiciary Committee launches top-to-bottom antitrust probe of big tech. Have you been hearing about this?
No, I don't think so.
This is where because right now they're going after like Google, Amazon, Apple,
Oh, because they're too big, and they're saying, but there may not be able to be startup companies because they're taking too much of the pie, things like that. Yeah, I mean, I suppose if that's one of the things you have on your sheet as a concern, it is a legitimate concern given the circumstances, but I'm not sure if I'd have that on my list of things to worry about, honestly.
Well, I think the big thing comes from the influence that these organizations now have.
Maybe.
Because basically you have like with Facebook has Instagram and then these people sort of have these market spaces locked up.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah.
And then now they're starting to censor stuff, and that makes them very influential when it comes, especially to things like politics. So I can understand why politicians would be paranoid as hell about this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that might be a bit of a downer. I don't know if I want to go through.
Wouldn't bother me too much, I guess.
No. The industry-wide probe will be wide-ranging. Rhode Island Democrat Representative David Sickel, some guy who heads the panel's subcommittee on antitrust, is leading in the investigation, that it is aimed less at specific companies than at the tremendous concentration of market power held by Silicon Valley's most dominant platform. That's the other thing, too, man. They're so, that's a whole too big to fail thing as well, because one of these companies goes out, it could, it has a sizable impact. Like if Amazon went down, Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Holy crap. Because they're such a big part of the market now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Something happens, I don't know what it would be, but who knows? We used to think banks couldn't fail either. Well, here we are. This comes from, who was that from? Antitrust. That was from CNN Business. This comes from Futurism. China unveils first chip designed specifically for mind reading.
Ooh,
that's a good one, huh?
What does the chip go in?
I don't know. Ooh, that could be, we'll find out. As the name suggests, brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, are devices that provide a direct line of communication between the brain and a computer. They're an interface device. Elon Musk was talking about this, too. He's got a company called like Neuronet. He was like when he was getting all roasted on the Rogan podcast, was one of the things he was talking about. And he was saying there was going to be like some big announcements coming. They're doing away with the interface, like keyboards and shit are going away. Essentially, they pull off the seemingly sci-fi feat of reading minds, and research into them has made remarkable strides in recent years. We now have BCIs that can turn your thoughts into audible sentences.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tactile is out.
Or even let you play a game of telepathic Tetris. So you could get like with this kind of technology. I mean, this is some like weird Black Mirror shit, right? Because in the future, is there going to be a warrant where they put a device on your head and ask you questions and actually listen to what your thoughts say instead of what your mouth says?
Sure.
I mean, could you do that? It's not
you mean
invasive.
Legally or technologically?
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, is that where technologically, it looks like we're going to get there.
Yeah, I think technologically we could, but I don't know how they would.
I mean, is that where we're headed?
Potentially we're headed in that direction, but whether we allow it or not, I don't know. I bet there will be some reasons and some countries that will allow it to some extent.
Still, the tech has yet to reach anything close to mainstream adoption, but a newly unveiled Chinese computer chip might finally bring it to the masses, according to a state-run press agency, Xinhua.
Hey, we have the death penalty, so why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah, man, that's some spooky, weird, fascinating, holy crap. I mean, because right now, if you want a job, they can make you pee in a cup.
Except in New York.
Right? Well, I mean, there's some states, right? But so is this the next thing where they bring you in and they ask you if you have any ill intent towards the company, whether you know what I'm saying?
I would imagine at some point in the future.
Whether you're just clean so you can pass a drug test or whether you're actually a drug user, what couldn't?
I mean,
what couldn't they do?
They could write anything up in a contract that you could agree to before going and talking to them. They could be up front and say, hey, this is what we do if you want to be a part of our company. So,
But then there's another piece of me that says, I love this technology and I don't ever want to watch a presidential debate again without the candidates having to wear these fucking things.
you may never ever see one again if they bring those out. Nobody may be willing to debate shit.
No more press conferences with politicians unless they're fucking wearing these things. The signals transmitted and processed by the brain are submerged in the background noise, Tijuana University researcher Ming Dong said in a press release. This BC Cube brain computer codec chip has the ability to discriminate minor neural electric signals and decode their information efficiently, which can greatly enhance the speed and accuracy of brain-computer interface.
I keep thinking, what if you get confused how disastrous and quick that might be?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're talking about letting you use it to drive your car, or you know what I mean?
Still, I mean,
but
just in any process that, you know, that you might potentially use it for if you got confused. I mean, you can't stop a person from being confused, and if it reads your brain,
right.
You know what I mean? At some point, there's going to be a cross index of that where you
I wonder what it does with like lizard brain shit. You know what I mean? Like run. You know?
Yeah, right.
What's it do with that?
Fleeing.
Brain-computer interfaces hold a promising future, he said in the release. The Brain Talker chip advances BCI technology, allowing it to become more portable, wearable, and accessible to the general public. So that's becoming a thing.
Yeah. See, in the future, you're going to have a car, and to get away, you'll be like, I got to go put this in the lizard brain mode. Just avoid shadows and everything.
This guy, it's like a turbo switch. Click.
Yeah.
Hyperspeed. This is from Rolling Stone. Ready? Here's another one.
I'm set.
Anti-censorship activists strip nude outside Facebook headquarters to fight nudity ban. Instagram, the most popular.
What better way to fight a nudity ban?
Everybody wants to see the titties. Instagram, the most popular platform for artists who share their work online, and its parent company, Facebook, both ban pornographic representations of the nude body. That's a lot of naked people holding nipples up. That is weird. Oh, they're hats.
Where is this at?
Is that what the hell is that?
What state?
Well, it's in front of their headquarters.
Which is where?
Hasn't said yet. Over 100 anti-censorship activists stripped nude outside Facebook and Instagram's New York headquarters Sunday to protest the social media company's nudity guidelines. The stunt, orchestrated by the National Coalition Against Censorship.
Those nude bastards.
Photographer, artist Spencer Tunick, he knew he was going to have a name like that.
Yeah.
Featured the nude model's nipples and genitals with stickers of photographed male nipples to highlight the rigid and anachronistic gender inequality and existing nudity policies, the NCAC said. Quote, the human body has always been a central subject of art. Its representations have evolved with technologies of expression, from cave drawings to sculpture and paintings to photography and video.
To robots.
Who was it? There was a politician one time that says, I can't tell you what pornography is, but I know it when I see it.
Probably in that Larry Flint case or something.
That wouldn't be surprising, right? Yet, leading 21st century social media platforms, Instagram, the most popular platform for artists who share their work online, and its parent company, Facebook, both ban photographic representations of the nude body while making an exception for artistic nudity in sculptures and paintings. Even after the artistic protest Sunday, which carried the hashtag, quote, we the nipple, photos from the event and inspired by the campaign were censored on social media, according to the NCAC. All posts bearing that hashtag were removed on Instagram by Monday due to community guidelines.
So there you go. The protest was censored.
But censoring the censorship protest.
Yes. Double whammy.
We're through the looking glass here, people. Quote, we recognize that moderating content for billions of users is challenging and draw the line between art and images that are not art is hard. Bump. Svetlana Minchevia, director of programs at NCAC, said in a statement, yet if Facebook and Instagram want to be platforms for artists, they need to modify their current overboard ban on photographic nudity, which harms artists who work with the human body, especially those exploring issues of gender and identity. We urge the company to adopt an art-friendly policy developed with the help of a group of global stockholders, such as art advocates, historians, curators, and artists. Okay, so they're basically like saying, hey, we need to start leaning on them.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it'd be nice to have some kind of a committee to kind of police what was artistic and what
Dude,
wasn't.
my opinion, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this. They screwed up when YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these started going in and like you could just have a guideline that says, "Hey, no nudity." Well, I'm sorry, it's artists, and they could have stuck with that and just left it at that. But now they're actually going in and banning certain types of speech, and things that are outside of things like nudity and stuff. And bro, they have opened a can of worms that is going. I mean, it's because there's no way. There's so much information moving around on these platforms every day. The only way that you can possibly police it is you have to community police it. Okay. So basically, you have to have people start flagging shit going, well, they're just flagging shit that they don't like. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the guidelines. And if you get enough people to flag something fast enough, the algorithm just takes it down and deletes the post or locks the post until it can be reviewed. So you have this shit happening now. Like you only need like 50, 60 people to flag something sometimes, and it'll come down. And then if you've had multiple things flagged, then you're like higher on the radar. So it's more likely that you'll have stuff taken down. So when people are not violating any of the guidelines at all, and they're going out and, and it's political rhetoric or whatever the hell it is, and they do these things, the opposing side now knows that you can just shut them down just by getting enough of your team to hammer it, and they will. It'll take a post out. It'll take a news article down. They can do this.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's and like I said, they've opened a can of worms here. So I don't know where this comes down, but now you like we said, we're talking about earlier. You've got the federal government looking to deregulate or to regulate this shit and stuff now. So it's a big deal.
Yep, it definitely is. It's interesting to see how things are going to go and how things are going to morph. Because I don't think it's going to stay the same.
I don't think so either. Something's going to happen. They're going to start having to be regulated by like the FCC. And
but other little things will crop up and grow and be under the radar until they grow big like this. I mean, that's how Facebook was. It was like a Wild West under the radar sort of thing. But as it got bigger, more and more attention was drawn to it. When this starts to disseminate, there'll probably be little companies and stuff that start up to take that space and will be so much better because they can do this, that, and the other thing until everybody jumps on that bandwagon. And all of a sudden, everyone's looking at that, and it's like, no, you can't be doing that stuff. You guys got little kids on here. They don't know what art is.
Right.
All boobs are pornography to them.
So it's a mess. And if you think about like major networks and newspapers have to deal with shit like libel and the FCC and what they can and can't say and what they can. These platforms are now going to have to start, if they start getting regulated, then they're going to drop those kind of regulations on them.
Yeah.
And the cost to run these tech companies is going to explode because of that. Which is, it'll put them on the same plane as like, your big broadcast networks with the shit they have to pay for that these kind of companies don't. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
Podcast will be regulated.
Podcasts will be regulated. Sure. Yes. I believe that. Absolutely.
Taxed for time. Jeez.
Well, we're taxed on any money we make if we make any money.
Right.
This comes from IFL Science. Lab-made sonic black hole confirms Hawking's predictions.
Okay, I know a little bit of something about this particular
That's why
news.
I picked it. Well, what you got? You heard the headline. Is it clickbait?
It's clickbait. And it's clickbait in the sense that it's a sonic black hole, so it's made with sound. You guys can just figure out how different a black hole made with sound versus a real one is. With gravity and mass. So, I mean, and it basically, they were able to watch this thing evaporate. So it was kind of like how Hawking had described that this hole would be and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is weird that they're going back to that because they've all, like Hawking himself had already moved on and that black hole.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I thought.
Yeah. So I mean, read it and see what if it's the same article or something slightly different or whatever. But
the late Professor Stephen Hawking was one of many physicists worldwide whose work tried to explain the complexity of these objects. One of his most important contributions to this field of research was Hawking radiation. This is the theory that black holes emit particles, taking away a bit of energy from the object. Such knowledge suggests black holes are not exactly black, as particles do need to escape from them. He also posited that the radiation would be thermal and the temperature depends on the area of the object. We can build real black holes in the lab. We can't build real black holes in the lab, at least not yet.
Okay, so right there's one caveat. Look, we can't even make these things at all. So what we're talking about is not these things. It's something it's close as we can think to get.
To test this theory, researchers have had to be creative.
Really creative.
And constructing an analogous testing ground. In the past, researchers used water and waves to create fake black holes.
Okay, now consider how is that much different from sympathetic magic?
What do you mean?
Well, like where you have an image of a person like a voodoo doll and you stick it and the person hurts, right? That's sympathetic magic. Or where if you are trying to get across the chasm and you have a toothpick, you can throw it down with a spell and enlarge it to the size of a log and get across, right?
Right.
I mean, how is that really different from that? They're just, it's instead of actually like with magic where you would actually get the end result desired, they're just picking something analogous, like this is like this thing, so it must extrapolate. And it's like in real life, sympathetic magic really doesn't work. It doesn't actually extrapolate. A toothpick is not a log, and so forth, right?
Yeah,
so
no, I dig it.
Why
Yep.
should I feel that waves in a wave tank have much to do with?
Is it that, or is this more like a lab rat or a test animal or something?
Oh no! It's like they're coming up with different ways of expressing.
They're just inventing shit.
Yeah, just trying stuff. Like, hey, we can't make gravity waves, but how about we use water? We got a lot of water around. Would that work? Yeah,
I
sure.
talked to Sherfu. He gets bent about this kind of stuff, man. He feels that it's basically they're just creating experiments for the sake of creating experiments.
Yeah, I mean, just read what you just said about in the past they've used
water and waves, right?
Water and waves. I mean, how is that? That's real analogous to a black hole, I would imagine, right? Like, how is that?
Right.
I mean, I know there's gravity waves, but it's hard for me, and I'm no scientist necessarily, but it's hard for me to imagine them being very closely analogous.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought. So this is one of them things. It's,
and there's some more. If you keep, I remember there's a couple of other things, and there was just like, look, man, this is totally different. But
have you read this before? Have you seen this before then?
I read one article about it, and it might have been that one. That's what I was.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was or not.
So you just found it to be kind of clickbaity bullshit.
The one I read, yeah.
Or not, and it's not. I mean, they're actually doing these tests, but the tests may be just completely.
But it's like, hey, man, let's make this. Something. Yeah, well, it's like saying, hey, let's resurrect this idea that was popular in the late 90s, this Hawking radiation. It was real popular, right?
Right.
It's like he's riding on the coattails of that. Whoever's doing these experiments or writing this article is cashing in on how kind of famous that theory was at that time,
right? And
saying, hey man, there might be merit to this theory still. Oh yeah, how so? What math did you use? Oh dude, we didn't use math. We got like some water and moved some stuff around and used some sound and stuff, right? But we're sure that it's exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like, and the reporter's like, oh yeah, man, they've did this experiment now, and it's like 99% likely that he was right. It's like
that's that whole correlation is not causality situation again.
Yeah,
that's a theme tonight, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. I mean, none of these things really have anything to do with anything.
You can't prove Hawking radiation with sound waves,
right?
And,
or water,
and you may not, and swallowing may not actually.
Because Hawking radiation is predicated on quantum physics. That when quantum particles get close to the event horizon, that the part of that quantum particle goes into the event horizon, and part of it escapes around the outside up to the poles, right?
Right.
And then it bleeds off in little particles and evaporates. Like eventually it evaporates away, and all of the information that it took in is spilled back out in subatomic particles back into the universe, right?
Okay.
So I mean, like, we're talking about that kind of stuff. Like, how is that at all relevant to water and sound? I mean, maybe I'm not a scientist and I don't know, but man, I wish they would explain more.
Well, maybe somebody will. Maybe there's somebody listening that understands it a little better and go, "Hey, dipshits!"
Right? Yeah.
Let us know if we're totally getting this wrong. Tell us. We'll revisit it for sure. But Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot. Now, I'm not a physicist either. I don't even pretend to be one on TV. So,
But I know if I'm trapped out in Yosemite Park and we have to get across a large, chasm to get back to our campsite, or we're going to starve to death.
Right.
If I pull out a toothpick and look at you and tell you we might be able to use this to get across that chasm because it's analogous to a log. I mean, it's made out of wood and it's roughly the same shape.
But you wouldn't be surprised if I slapped the shit out of you, right?
No. I feel like somebody should have come up to these guys with some knowledge on the subject and slap these guys like, look, quit wasting people's money with water, man. People got to drink this shit.
And there's actual real, well, okay.
Anyway, I'm done poo-pooing on. Go ahead.
No, it's good. It's good. I could keep shitting all over it, too. It's like, okay. This comes from sciencenews.org. Hominids may have been cutting-edge tool makers 2.6 million years ago. Why is that significant, Eric?
Well, I'm not honestly sure why that's significant. I think we've been tool makers for our history and ever since.
I guess they're saying specifically, though, cutting-edge tool maker.
Well, I suppose that's pretty early.
Do they mean tools that are sharp? Oh, yeah. Contested.
I think sharp tools.
Contested finds point to a sharp shift in tool making by early members of the Homo genus. Discoveries in East Africa of what may be the oldest expertly sharpened stone implements suggest that early members of the human genus,
older than they thought,
Homo, invented these tools by around 2.6 million years ago, researchers say.
Pretty early.
It's early?
Yeah, pretty early.
But their conclusions are controversial. New finds at the site in Ethiopia called Ledi Geraru fit a scenario in which various early Homo groups devised ways to sharpen handheld stones, asserts archaeologist David Braun of George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and his colleagues. Ledi Geraru artifacts date between 2.58 million and 2.61 million years ago, the team reports online June 3rd in the Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences. Now, I thought you could only carbon date something that was alive at some point, like wood and fiber, hair fibers and stuff.
You can carbon date anything that's got carbon in it, I guess. I honestly don't know.
Another team previously had unearthed sharpened stones that were 2.55 million to 2.58 million years old at Ghana, G-O-N-A, a nearby Ethiopian site. Until now, those were the oldest examples of cutting and digging devices with systemically sharpened edges. Archaeologists refer to these types of artifacts as Oldowan tools because the first examples were found at East Africa's Olduvai Gorge. Age estimates for Ledi Geraru artifacts were determined by where they were found between a dated layer of volcanic ash and sediment. There's how. Preserving a known reverse magnetic field. Jesus, stone tools at Ledi Geraru are probably at least 50,000 years older, but could be up to 100,000 years older than the Ghana artifacts, Braun says. His team recovered 300 stone artifacts, including sharp-edged rocks and larger rocks from which those implements were struck. Those findings were strewn among 330 fossilized bones of non-human animals. Okay, so that makes sense. They're all sort of, that's how they're getting it. Okay. Is that like an out-of-place artifact? Obviously, it's not, because there it is.
That brings the clock back, I think, a little earlier than we would have suspected we were fashioning tools.
Yeah.
But,
But that just keeps happening over and over again. We just keep pushing the calendar back further and further.
It's probably going to. That's probably going to happen. I mean, look at it this way, dude. You know how you've seen documentaries about crows and how they will use tools in the sense that they will go and fashion a stick.
Fuckers will set fires and shit, too. Birds will set fires. They'll in a forest fire, they'll come down and pick up hot embers and take it to some place that's not on fire and drop it. So they start a fire and then they get the mice and shit running from the fire.
Well, but I'm thinking particularly about how they'll fashion a stick. Like they'll make a twig.
Or a nest. They do construction.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they do, right? But they use tools. They're not the only animals that use tools, right? There's some others, too. There's some monkeys that use tools. Yeah. There's a particular rock to break a nut. There's a few other ones too. There's not many. A Caledonian crow is one of them, and I forget the monkey's name. But at any rate, these creatures are using tools. They're fashioning and using tools before they themselves have sentience. I mean, maybe they can recognize not nice faces, which they
I
can.
never thought about it like
and
that.
they have a language unto themselves, but they don't really have sentience.
Sort of
right?
implies that tool use and tool making is a lizard brain, like a lower brain function almost. Is that kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yeah. I mean, it may have been with us before our even our oral history was with us, right? I mean, they could potentially keep finding older and older. It'd be harder and harder and rarer for these things to last that long, but I bet they can continue to find that stuff.
The only difference between a tool and a weapon is the job you're trying to do.
Yeah, right.
So that kind of makes sense.
So I mean, and we see animals doing it now, and they're not sentient. And if they were to be sentient, like let's say someday the Caledonian crow was uplifted and became sentient, right? It wouldn't remember a time before it wasn't using tools. As far back as it would be aware,
right,
it was using tools. And it's like that, I think, with us. I think before we were even self-aware, we were using tools. We might have been communally aware.
It's part of the evolutionary process almost, because it provides safety, blah, 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 food, whatever. Tools are all part of this.
Yeah.
More efficiently getting these things.
Another bottleneck, maybe all sentient creatures will learn how to fashion the environment around them and become tool makers, just like every sentient species will learn about the energy stored inside of matter.
I thought I saw something here not too long ago, too, where apes or something have entered the Stone Age. Like there's animals crossing into...
That's one of those ones I was telling you about that's using a particular stone that they know is hard enough to break this particular nut. You know, it's like, So
Planet of the Apes in a million years could be a real thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the next evolutionary step kind of thing.
And I was thinking about that earlier today. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought up Charlton Heston and Planet of the Apes. Because I was thinking earlier today how you can slow time down, but you can never speed it up. No matter what you do, you can't make time go faster. You can travel into the future, but the way you do that is by slowing yourself down, which is, an effect that is a real effect of physics.
Right, but you're not bending any laws of physics to do that.
Right.
So you're saying if you go really, really fast,
you go
time
slow.
slows down for you.
For you, yeah.
So in essence, you're time traveling. Anytime you're traveling, you're moving.
Yeah.
So and as the Earth is ripping through the universe, we're all time traveling.
Well, in
way,
that sense. But more to the point was just that you could never make time go faster. That it was interesting that you could only slow it down. That it's already running at top speed. Time is already running at top speed right now.
Okay.
Like you can't make it go any faster. I always thought that was interesting because you could be stationary, and if you were, that's fine, right? But the faster you go, the slower time passes for you until you get to the speed of light, which is the speed limit, and which time would stop for you.
For you, right.
Yeah. So it's interesting, though, that it's already at top speed, that time is already at top speed.
Okay.
I mean,
like it's
people think of speeding up and slowing down time like it's a tape or something, right?
Right.
But when you really stop and you think about it,
it's not.
Yeah, you can't. No one's ever sped up time. No one's even suggested that you could. Even when they talk about traveling into the future, that it's not really speeding up time in any sense.
Right.
And
in the last Avengers movie.
Right. Well, see, that brings up another point that I was thinking of, right? Any of these science fiction shows that talk about faster than light travel always have some science fiction
as part
method,
of the
I mean, in reality, it's not that you couldn't slow time down for you and thus time travel, or it wasn't, that you couldn't get close to the speed of light. In reality, though, we can't. So when we talk about aliens coming from far away, right, they would have to have broken the light barrier. That's something that people universally agree upon when they talk about alien intelligences and UFOs and stuff, right?
As far as we understand
anything. Yeah, and we do understand a lot about what we have and how it works, right?
No, I dig that. Yeah. There could be, but I'm leaving space that there could be some phenomena that we just don't even remotely understand.
So
yet.
Bizarre that it's completely past an impenetrable, unseeable wall, right? Like we don't even have an idea of how it would work. We literally have to come up with fictional things like folding space or warping into another,
wormholes.
Yeah,
I don't know if those are fictional, but
well, we don't even know, right? But we have to come up with something bizarre to make it happen. So it was dawning on me that, it really, if you think about it, almost any other idea about what UFOs might be would probably be better than an advanced species. because it may be impossible to break the speed barrier at all. I mean, not impossible to time travel, not impossible to fold space, perhaps, right? But I mean, it would be really difficult to make a faster than light vessel. Almost verging on like fantasy, like a dragon existing and breathing fire.
We've talked about this too, and that's why the ancient aliens theory about humans being gold miners for aliens.
Things like that.
Because it's like if you can fold space time or warp.
Yeah.
But you're gonna genetically modify monkeys to dig gold out of the ground for you.
Yeah, it just makes no sense, man.
I just can't get there, man.
No, not when there's gold is so plentiful in other places.
Yeah, like asteroids and shit, right?
Yeah, all over the universe.
Eric von Daniken is that's the theory, right?
Yeah. He's the one that I think spearheaded in the beginning.
It's one of my favorite guilty pleasures.
Yeah, mine too. I love watching that stuff. I mean, I certainly watch it, but I just find it kind of perplexing that when you really think about it, that the other dimensions are far more probable than going faster than light.
Right.
I mean, anything that we have that even approaches light as a vector particle is like just a subatomic particle. It's it's ripped to shreds in a sense, right?
Right.
So it's not even in our time frame of reality as much as possible when it does that. So it's like how you would get past it. It's like a wall. I don't know. It's boggling my mind because I had a good friend telling me today that they're pretty sure that they've seen a UFO and they were absolutely freaked out about it. And he thought it was aliens.
Okay.
And I just started thinking about it, right? And I'm thinking about how improbable is that? I mean, aside from why they would even want to be around or what was going on, like, how could you even do it? Like, we have to literally invoke fantasy. It's not the science part; it's the fantasy part, like a dragon breathing fire to go faster than light in any show that we talk about. So anyway, it just seems kind of weird, in the worrying about it and stuff. And then
well, Navy pilots have seen them, right? That was New York Times.
We were talking about that before.
That was the last show you and I did.
And we even talked about how, like, it's just as probable, if not more probable, that it's not aliens from afar in the universe, but,
right?
Maybe time travelers or dimension hoppers or something.
I'm surprised, given the prolific amount of drones, that we haven't seen a huge spike.
Yeah,
because I think it would be funny as shit to like hang LEDs and stuff off of a drone and go fly it up really high so you can't hear it anymore, and
or the inverse of that, how with all the cell phone cameras and drones going around, that we haven't actually caught some pictures of something.
I said that too. This is the most surveilled any world society has ever been that we know of, right? And all this data is being captured, but not a single little green dude or nothing that's. You would think the shit be popping up all over the place with as many people who see these things.
Yeah.
But no, it's not there.
And then you have Enrico Fermi's paradox. Yep. Where is everything at? Yep. So I don't know. I mean, it just, I tend not to worry about that stuff and not to believe in it. But
I still love it though.
Yeah, me too.
It's like I love a good baked conspiracy theory, man. I love how people get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love this shit. I love to see how all the twists and turns and machinations people have to put themselves through that just completely dismisses so much logic.
To me, religions are an aspect of that.
I'm doing some stuff. We're doing some stuff tonight on further on aliens and religions and stuff.
Good.
Did you get the chance? Did you see the Flat Earth documentary on Netflix yet?
No, I don't. I haven't watched Netflix in like 5 years.
It is the most interesting thing I've seen in a long time, and I'm not saying this to shit on the Flat Earthers that were in the documentary, and I know that since that came out, there's a lot with this group. There's a lot of people that are really pissed off because they feel like the whole thing was kind of set up and different stuff. But just watching it and seeing how dedicated these folks are to not only that they know something that like there's this giant lie, okay, and then they're able to find this community together. Okay, so there's a lot of, that's the other thing that social media does is it allows people to get into communities.
Their tribes.
Yeah, or tribes. And then watching them actually run like legitimate scientific type experiments and concluding that the Earth appears to be curved, and it also appears to be curved that matches these equations, and like so that we're talking laser gyroscopes. It's picking up the was it 2.1 degrees of rotation per minute or whatever it is.
Who knows?
And then these guys did an optical experiment with boards with holes in them that they put on a river so they could it was a real long like channel, but it doesn't have waves. So they were able to really accurately measure up from that over the distance of more than a mile, and put boards up with holes in them. And first they tried a laser, but they couldn't get a laser that was tight enough to shoot far enough.
Yeah.
So then they did the slot experiment with a bright light behind boards, and the guy at the end couldn't see it. So they're like, okay, maybe just raise it up in the air. And as soon as they got to the right height, boom, you could see the light through the holes. So it proved that there was a curvature. And so they're running like these experiments, these people that don't believe this and they think they're going to expose this, right? And the experiments are telling them, no, it's round.
It's round, dude.
but they're going to run an actual expedition on a ship. I'm not even kidding. And they're going to go to the edge of the world and take pictures and prove that there's a wall out there and we're all being lied to. But that's great because once they get around to Australia.
Yeah. Dude, I think we should take all the people who think that the earth is flat, put them in a room with all the people who think that the earth is hollow.
And let them have it out.
Yeah. And then like about at the midway point, we'll send the people that don't believe Australia exists in with some kind of weaponry.
That's a new thing too, right?
Yeah.
It isn't even real.
Yeah. Like they went, is it round? Well, it was, but now we think it's flat. And now we're just taking parts away.
Now we're just going to admit
no
that.
Australia either.
Well, that doesn't fit the paradigm, so it must be.
We need a new flat map with not Australia there somehow, like the new updated real truth.
But
it's a flat map minus Australia.
I'm absolutely fascinated by the part of the human condition, though, that gets you there.
Yeah, I don't understand.
No, that's an outlandish one. There's Bigfoot. There's lots of these that you would say, okay, but shouldn't the evidence and data be showing up by now?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, and not people coming forth like with crop circles saying, "Oh no, it was me and John and a couple of beers and this board and some rope."
Yeah. And here's how we do it.
Yeah. The guy the famous Bigfoot picture that was, it's been around forever. That guy came forth and said that he had a suit.
Yeah.
The guy, that real famous black and white picture of Loch Ness Monster, that guy came forward and even showed what he used, and it looks exactly like that. I mean, all of the real famous.
Yeah, they're hucksters, or they're that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If I had a drone and I didn't think I'd go to jail for it, I'd be fucking with people, man. I really would. Some of these things are huge. Like
not hard to understand the motivation, and
Yeah, I just like especially at events. But then I'm worried about causing a. So there's a lot of things that keep me from doing it. But there's this little voice in the back of my brain that goes, go ahead, fuck with people.
Well, they keep that all in perspective, right? We were talking about aliens and all that, the ancient alien theory.
Yeah.
Okay, so, think about that for a minute. Think about the pyramids in Egypt and their mummification processes and all this, right? The 72 days, the nitrate salt, the fleshy organs in canopic jars and so on and so forth, right? But there were still people that when they would go, for instance, and take their cats to get them mummified,
right?
There were still people whose job, it was a business. They had businesses to mummify these animals.
Like people's pets kind of thing?
Yeah, people's pets, and some of them people too, right? But some of, like I'd say, I guess it was a small percentage, but like maybe 5 to 7% of all the ones that we took x-rays of that we found in archaeological digs, somebody had just put rocks and dirt in, right? They took the cat outside.
So they ripped them off, basically. Yeah. They swindled them.
Yeah, they took the cat outside. They got rid of it. They gave him a pre-made dill or whatever and sold it to him, and it didn't have half the work and the time that it would have taken to actually put the salt nitrate onto the cat.
It the correct way.
Exactly, right?
So it was actually preserved.
Yeah. So, I mean, even back, when you think back and you think, oh, man, it was so mystical. It was so heavy. They're not going to unwrap
it and see if Fluffy's actually in there or something,
because
right?
it was supposed to be so mystical, so heavy, right? But there were still people who was like, yeah, whatever, dude. This is not real.
Yeah, this is just bullshit. Yeah, sure.
You guys are building a big pyramid, whatever. You guys are getting this wrong.
My father plays dominoes better than your father plays dominoes. Here's your cat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's always those people in society. No matter what was going on, there was those guys that were like, well, I'm just here to make a buck. screw your religion, whatever.
I just saw, no, I'm not going to talk about that. This is from Maxim. Arnold Schwarzenegger just dropped a rap video called "Pump It Up."
Oh, I heard about that, but I didn't hear it.
And it's so bad. I'm not going to play it. It's probably copyrighted. You know what I mean? It's on Vivo.
Yeah.
It's on Vivo, so it definitely is. So
Well,
I can't sample it in.
Sure, he's making tons of money off of this.
7-time Mr. Olympia, action movie icon, former governor of California, and now rapper.
Star.
Seriously, the Terminator Dark Fate actor has inexplicably teamed up with the Austrian singer Andreas Gabalier, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to co-write and perform "Pump It Up," the motivation song.
Pump it up.
You will lift the weight.
Pump it up.
The duo even made a music video, which has already racked up nearly 1.3 million views on YouTube in less than 2 weeks. Never mind that the beat sounds like it was composed by a bad Christian rock band, or that some of the lyrics are a little questionable. Arnold tries to rhyme fail with gain. We challenge anyone not to feel the urge to bang out some reps or run up a hill after listening to Schwarzenegger's verse. Quote, "Hey, I'm Arnold, and listen carefully. Dig deep down. Get to the chopper. No, dig deep down and ask yourself, who do you want to be? Not what, but who. If you believe success will come to you, work like hell, trust yourself, and all your dreams come true."
All right. Well,
That's deep, baby.
well, I am.
Break some rules. Oh, you rebel.
Look, I am all about the whole TV movie star music thing, right? Because I got the.
Oh, you're a Shatner fan now.
Well, I'm a Shatner fan. Leonard Nimoy, Tim Russ, who was Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager. I got all his albums.
I'm a rocket man.
Also David Duchovny. I got his albums.
Yeah, but he's like a legit rock musician, though.
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Duchovny.
Russell-
There are some that are actors that are actually really good musicians too.
Russell Crowe. All his stuff.
Wow.
And let's see, Bruce Willis.
It was
and
good. I like
Keanu
Bruce
Reeves.
Willis. I haven't heard any of that.
Dog Star.
Oh, right. Yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right, no.
Yep.
And the last one I got, Andy Griffith.
Who could sing
Yeah,
and play guitar and stuff. He was a talented musician. Yeah.
And there's lyrics to the theme song that
of
comes
the Andy
on.
Griffin Show,
Yeah.
really?
It's called The Fishing Hole. In the fishing hole. Ba-dum-bum,
Oh, no
ba-dum.
kidding.
Yep.
Well, was it something he wrote, or was it something?
I have no idea.
It might just be like a folk song.
I think
already
it probably is, yeah. Some kind of Appalachian folk song, perhaps.
So you think we would know it?
I don't know.
The video itself plays like a jokey Saturday Night Live sketch. Clips of Schwarzenegger in his bodybuilding prime are spliced in between inspirational B-roll of California beaches and shots of both performers pumping iron at Venice Beach's Gold's Gym and recording in the studio. Well, check that out, folks. If you're into it, it should at least be worth
If nothing else, check out the guy who's doing the other part, because we all know Schwarzenegger.
it. This comes from ZME Science, which is not exactly rocket science. Lab engineered meat. How about lab grown insect meat?
Insect meat?
Yeah, like bugs, man. By now, the fact that the world is eating too much meat should surprise no one. In addition to the ethical concerns, meat is associated with a host of other environmental issues, greenhouse gas emissions, water usage, you name it. In recent years, a promising new solution has been emerging: lab-grown meat. The idea is to clone meat in a lab, a process that's cruelty-free, eco-friendly, and cost-competitive with real meat.
Cruelty-free.
Not for the people that have to eat it. I shouldn't say that. The last part is still a work in progress, but things are slowly looking up. Now a team of researchers put a new twist on that idea. What if instead of growing meat, we grew insect meat? In theory, growing artificial meat isn't that complicated. The technology is there. The rough infrastructure exists, but the ingredients are a pain, specifically the nutrients needed to feed the cells. This generally comes in the form of a delicate serums containing animal blood, which means
we've reduced food and nutrition to
listen to this.
Barest packs.
This generally comes in the form of delicate serums containing animal blood. So you're going to grow meat, but you have to grow animals to get the blood to grow the meat, which means that the resulting product is not only very expensive but also not cruelty free. Maybe the animals donate it. In this current state, cultured meat is hardly a reliable solution. Insect meat, however, is different.
I'm trying to imagine a meaty insect, and I'm having problems.
We're like moving down the food chain on things it's okay to be shitty to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things it's okay to kill to eat is kind of what we're doing. Like we're not saying it's because the deaths here will be significantly higher per pound.
Hey man, this is good news for Jainism.
Gee, those poor bastards, huh? The tissues of invertebrate. Explain what that is before.
Jainism is a religion where you can't kill anything, and you can't, like, they'll wear masks on their face to keep from breathing in insects. They walk as little as possible, as light as possible, so they're not killing anything underneath their foot. They eventually turn to veganism because it's considered cruel to eat animals and things like that. And then eventually they start eating only rotten vegetation because they consider it to be cruel to eat living vegetable matter.
So they basically starve themselves to death.
And eventually they stop taking anything into their bodies and eat as much as possible. And if they die doing that, they're considered to be holy. I mean, most people fail, obviously, or you're not going to propagate the religion, but it's a pretty small religion as religions go.
I was going to say, it's not a religion that seems like it would still be around after very long.
But it's, I mean, most people talk about how they just don't live up to the prophets, like in most religions, right? Which is kind of interesting and ironic, right? It's like, it's really bad, but when you compare the overall ratio to the same people that say Christians that say they don't live up to their prophets any more than these guys do, then these guys are like, and the documentary that I was watching while this was being said, they were serving dinner to their family. I mean, you know, and it's like a place. It's like one particular city or something.
It's like any religion. It's how much you want to adhere to it.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody actually. Well, maybe I shouldn't say anybody, but it's really, really hard for any of the major religion to live up entirely to the tenets of it.
Yeah.
But I got one coming up that you might be able to. The tissues of invertebrates are different from those of mammals in a number of ways, some of which are not exactly clear. However, it is clear that insects are more resilient to a range of different conditions, temperature, pH, humidity, and they are also less demanding in terms of nutrients. In simple terms, mammals need a lot of micronutrients while insects do not.
Oh, you took out too many crickets. Put them back in the cup.
I want mine chocolate covered. So because their metabolism is simpler, growing insect cells may also be easier. This would make cultured insect meat more scalable and dramatically reduce costs. There's also another advantage to cultivating insect cells. If they have sufficient nutrients, they endlessly propagate. In a new study, Tufts biomedical engineer David Kaplan and colleagues describe how they can not only grow insect cells, but also make robots from them, or rather, robot components, such as bioactuators. They also describe how other researchers built bioactuators from insect cells in a variety of conditions. Quote, insect muscle culture is prominent in the field of soft robotics. So that's a nice way of saying we're putting electrodes in bugs. Researchers have constructed small-scale robots or biobots from both mammalian and invertebrate biomass. Insect-derived biobots may be superior to biobots constructed from mammalian tissues or cells because insect tissue is tolerant to a wide range of environmental conditions, the study reads. This is just somebody selling me bugs, man. That's all this is.
We got a lot of bugs. What can we do with these things? Well...
accelerating development of sustainable foods can be done. Whether or not insects will play a part of that remains to be seen. It's, as a protein source, I do protein shakes. It all comes from whey, from milk, but they make vegetarian versions of it and shit now too. So it's a little chalkier, but it'll do in a pinch. Okay, here comes our new religion story. I've been telling you.
Yeah.
This comes from Vox.com, the new American religion of UFOs. See how I tied that all together?
That's
pretty
great.
Good, man. It's almost like I'm a fucking host or something.
It's good.
Belief in aliens is like faith in religion and may come to replace it. Last week, the New York Times published a viral article about reports of UFOs off the East Coast in 2014 and 2015. That's the Navy thing we were talking about. It included an interview with 5 Navy pilots who witnessed and in some cases recorded mysterious flying objects with no visible engine or infrared exhaust plumes that appeared to reach 30,000 feet and hypersonic speeds. No one is quite sure what they saw, but the sightings are striking and they are part of a growing fascination with the possibility of intelligent alien life. According to Diana Pasulka, a professor at the University of North Carolina and author of the new book, American Cosmic, Belief in UFOs and Extraterrestrials is becoming a kind of religion, and it isn't nearly as fringe as you might think.
I blame the Drake equation and scientists wanting to get viewers on TV and documentaries.
Is that it?
I do. That's what I blame that over proliferation of all of that. How, like, oh, yeah, today's age, you'd have to be crazy not to believe there's a possibility of life on other planets, like.
I've heard this said before, that in the absence of God, man would feel necessary to create one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and so kind of going down that road with this. There was a time, right, when people thought the earth was hollow and there were civilizations living inside of it. And then that sort of gave way to extraterrestrials once we figured out that we could go out in space and stuff.
And before that, it was...
So it sort of just morphed. Like, so, and using the God analogy, and I'm not saying, given this article, is there a part of humans that not only need to create God, but they need to create, shit?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's the need. It's probably a deniable need, but it's just like any other craving, right? And you start doing it, you really like it. Things start making sense for you.
Especially if you can find a tribe or a group
Yeah.
that believes the way you do, because then it gives you validation and you don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah, but before the validation in the group is somehow you start believing that things make sense. Like, this is the way the world should work. This is the way I imagine that the world would work. I ain't believing in some god, some imaginary friend with superpowers. There's no way, but I could get behind another guy like me on another planet, on another star. I watch the Star Trek. I understand what goes on back there,
Why does your guy become Southern?
My aliens turn gray too.
I mean, you've watched. Well, I think what it is you've watched enough of this shit that they always seem to have the same accent.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
More than half of American adults and over 60% of young Americans believe in intelligent extraterrestrial life. This tracks pretty closely with belief in God, and if Pasulka is right, that's not an accident.
I guess I associate the Southern accent with the preachers that preach these things, and I can get behind a man that's on another planet.
Reach behind your TV set and feel the power of God.
Yeah, I guess that's what it might be. It's just more a matter of, I think, people who want to believe than it is a matter of intellect or anything like that. There's a lot of people who are, like, really intelligent that believe. It's just...
Right.
And I guess maybe on the worst days I might call it a weakness, but who am I to say, right? Just because I don't possess the need to do that myself doesn't necessarily mean it's a weakness in other people. A lot of times it looks that way from my position.
Listen, there's a big difference between having a wonder why and going, I got it all figured out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Both of them kind of come from the same place, right? The one, I wonder.
Yeah.
Okay, that's open-ended. And I've got the right book, and y'all have to do what I say. That's the same belief and the same entity, but it's a whole different paradigm.
But most people fall into the old X-Files, I want to believe. Like, I think that's the main thing.
The truth is out there.
And I want to believe, coupled with I want to believe. Everybody believes the truth is out there, and everybody wants to believe in something. So you go out and find your own truth, and you get behind it, and you rally behind it, and it could be anything, whatever makes sense to you. And I guess ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why I never disparage people who are religious, no matter what their religion is. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody trying to kill me over religion or any other reason. But aside from my own personal freedom and safety, I don't really care where people want to go seek their truth. I don't care if they want to find that in another person or another idea or whatever,
There was a time when I was transitioning from working on the airplanes to working on the shit that goes in the airplanes, for lack of a better definition. So I had to go to school, and I went to school. And we had our labs and classrooms had cipher locks on the doors because of the shit we were training on and we worked on, even though it was like 1972 technology. But in this school that I went to, it was at Oceana Naval Air Station in Virginia Beach. I walk into the bathroom and go in to do my business, shut the door. I look down. There's this this bound, thick staple bound stack of white laying on the shitter floor, right? I pick it up and I start looking at it, and it's all this UFO shit. And and what it was a photocopy of a photocopy. Because every time every military photocopier, or at least the ones in the Navy, there's a sticker on the photocopier. So every time you photocopy something, that sticker also transfers onto the photocopy to tell you, and it's like serialized, so they know which photocopier was used, where it was at, all this, because they track all this shit, right? So it was like photocopy, a photocopy, a photocopy, a photocopy. Like you could see it on these pages, but it was all this Project Blue Book shit. Okay, so there was a part of me that when I found this, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, because it's all very official looking documents done. When you're in the military, you see this shit all the time. So there's an authenticity to this. The photocopier, because the Navy had been making tons of copies of this book, unbeknownst to them, with people running to copiers and just copying the thing, and then stapling it back together. And like we had a huge printer in our squadron, could do books and all. I mean, it was crazy. Like it was like an industrial printer. And so there was a part of me when I found this, I was like, ooh, like I'd found something, I'm like, I don't know, 20 years old, 21 years old or whatever. And then, so I got it and I picked it up and I was like, man, it's in here and it's on the floor and nobody's name was on it or anything like that. I'm like, I'm grabbing this thing. I'm going to take it. And I actually took it back to the shop with me, put it in my bag. And then I got to thinking about it, and then I started getting paranoid about it. Like, what the fuck is this? But then there was a part of me finally, and I put it back. I actually took it back down to the bathroom and I put it back in the same stall and everything, because a part of me realized that I just found this thing in the shitter. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was in the bathroom.
All right.
So how sensitive or what did I actually find? And it had been photocopied a bunch of times because the stickers were all over top of it. They're never on the scanner.
Could be very gaggish.
So I put it back. I was like, this is all bullshit. But that was my first exposure to aliens and the military. Like, I didn't know anything really about like Roswell or any of that kind of stuff. It just wasn't something I was interested in as a kid. But it was the first time I'd ever seen something like that. And it was on a military base, and it was in a secure area that I found it, and I put it back. Like, if this was something significant, it wouldn't have been on the floor in the shitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. I've been interested in that stuff for a very long time. In space and science since I can remember, but specifically in UFOs since I was like maybe 10. I was really interested in all that stuff. But I mean, I guess eventually, as I got older and understood the principles of logic, it kind of faded away. For me,
that's Well, that's that joke. Why is it that as science and technology advances, the amount of miracles that happen has been decreasing? It's sort of, and it's because we understand things better. The sun coming up used to be a miracle of God every day. Now we know it's a big gas ball ripping through space that we sort of orbit around, right?
Yeah.
Her book isn't so much about the truth of UFOs or aliens as it is about what the appeal of belief in those things says about our culture and the shifting roles of religion and technology in it. On the surface, it's a book about the popularity of belief in aliens, but it's really a deep look at how myths and religions are created in the first place and how human beings deal with unexplainable experiences.
Well, Joseph Campbell said we needed to update our mythology.
He was right. I got to still watch that. I've got that in my playlist. I think it's on Amazon or Netflix or one of them. I pulled that up, but he did a lecture, or there's a documentary or something about either him or that.
Dude, I have like probably everything on film. If you want that, I can get that to you.
That's our guy, right? You haven't made a Joseph Campbell reference at all.
I know. I was thinking about that when I said that. Well, I never really thought about it until I started thinking about this in terms of religion, and it's like an update of mythology. And if you really think about it, when they talk about George Lucas and Joseph Campbell talking, where Campbell told him that told Lucas that they got it right, the hero myth. That was like the first little trepidation and wave. People started getting that in their psyche, that not only because if you think about it, right before that, aliens in the older movies like 50s, 60s, and early 70s. They were outlandish creatures that were there to hurt or invade or something, right?
Yeah, right.
Couldn't even understand them, right?
The day the earth stood still.
Yeah,
and,
all that.
Yep.
But all of a sudden, Lucas made it to be like you could be that alien. You could be that guy out there. You could be him. He could be you. He made it very identifiable.
Right. Well, he used all the major sort of archetypes and played off. That's all good storytelling uses the same archetypes.
But when that gets disseminated like it did as a blockbuster and into everyone's consciousness and further people would go on and make movies like that, it sets the seeds and the foundation for the idea that something like UFOs could be a religion.
Right.
It could be the updated mythology. There's no reason why it couldn't be. And certainly, just like back in the medieval period and before, there was a lot of quote unquote science that you could use to prove metaphysical and spiritual things, right?
Yes, there
Even
was,
like witch hunts and stuff, right?
Yeah. To the point where like the military and the government started investing in a lot of that stuff too.
Well, see how much more updated this whole idea of religion and mythology being about UFO and aliens could be, a much more provable and aligned with science. Even the Catholic Church has gotten behind science and the possibility of other aliens and stuff. It's not an unalignable position for science and religion to be in, especially if you throw in quantum physics and all the weird shit that goes on with that that can just be everything unexplained. But I mean, it's a really good fit, and I would
definitely they definitely ski down the same slopes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If you want to say it like that, sure.
And they affect the same part of the brain too. Yeah. Like I had pointed out in my thesis, there's 3 frames of conversation and modes of thinking that people can be in, which is where you have a conversation about everyday life. Like we would talk about our microphone or our bottle of water here, and then we would also, if we had a religion in common, like say Christianity, we could always talk about the afterlife, right? We would both have ideas of what that is that are different but the same, and we'd be talking and understand that we are talking about that place. And then we could also have a frame of conversation that's in between that, where we're talking about the Bible and how we have to follow the Bible and what we got to do in this real life that the Bible tells us to do to get to that metaphysical heaven. Right. So there's those 3 modes of conversation, and I drew that correlation in role-playing games where you were sitting around a table in real life and you were talking about rolling dice and your Mountain Dew can and your Doritos or whatever. And you would also have conversations that took place wholly understood to be inside this fantasy realm that we all agreed existed, and
collectively,
and sustained collectively, and then how you could also have
in your paper the one you did, Satanic Panic, that was the reason why it was so viscerally rejected by religious groups and stuff,
because it did a better job at being a religion. And the way it did a better job was in that second frame of reference where you're talking about the rules of the game versus the dogma of a religion.
It was a challenge.
Well, the rules of the game could be updated, amended, and changed, right?
But the sacred text shall not be changed.
No, you can't fix that shit. It's going to go out of date, and you can't do nothing about it, or you're a heretic. Right. But with the D&D game or the role-playing game,
you make
it work, make it better, right? So it actually becomes better, and it served as a Plutonian mind model of a great extent, right? So you could try out all these things like what would it be like to be another male or female, or to be this or that, and everybody supported that within that game, and you could try it out. And that was a bit too
character classes. You could be the strong guy. You could be a magic. You could do all of these things.
You could make a city whose form of government was drastically different from the government in which you lived in. Would you want, if you had like any kind of a government, say something what sounds bad, like I don't know, what, socialism, communism, what's bad nowadays?
Any of the isms.
I always say it's socialism, right? It includes some like religion, right? And then you have a group of kids that's meeting every week in the basement, and they're all living out fantasies inside a city that's democratic and ran by sages that are smart, like in Plato's Republic.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't want them doing that because that's subversive. That destroys the hegemony. It destroys the hegemony that you've created. You're trying to pass down a cultural hegemony that says that this is the way our culture is, and this is how our government works, and this is how you treat your neighbor. You don't want your kids down there experimenting with these ideas and playing them out.
That's Bill Hicks, the comedian Bill Hicks, I think was famous for saying, isn't it funny that all the drugs that are illegal are the ones that make you think.
Yeah. And this
like,
game would be like
yeah,
a drug with that. Yeah.
So anything that challenges or allows, especially young people, because they goddamn it rock and roll.
Yeah.
But anything that challenges the accepted
Stated-
cultural
yeah.
norms,
And that's what I mean
is
by
got to be rejected
homogeny
first.
or the hegemony.
Yep.
It's
You're
the
going to upset the turnip cart here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that coupled with
I think that's very much a human condition.
Well, yeah, I mean,
status quo, everybody's safe, don't fuck with anything.
But that coupled with the religious experience that it gave, that there was this release, a spiritual release, to go and play out these fantasies.
Right.
It's the same spiritual release you get in church and stuff, and the church had to make D&D real. They had to elevate its power up to demonic real.
Right. They gave it mystical qualities that a pen and paper book game did not deserve to have,
to bring people back to the church.
Words are dangerous, man.
Ideas, dangerous. Words, yeah. And so when you say that about man's desire to have something and believe in something, I answer yes, because I think it's in everybody.
It's sort of built, it's baked into us.
Yeah, that and DMT they say is responsible, the spirit molecule that's inside of every living thing, including plants. They say that's responsible.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a little bit of a deficiency in that, since I have very little use for any of that sort of metaphysical and spiritual stuff. Dude,
it's fun, man. I'm not even going to say. I've been to the big tent revivals and all that, and you dance, and they're usually in the summer, and you're outside in the tents.
Yeah, the music's not bad.
Great music, yeah, and generally there's good food involved in it, and it's good people. I mean, harmless for the most, completely harmless for the most part. It's good. Yeah. It's good stuff.
I don't disparage anybody seeking the truth.
I'm not shitting on it at all. No. I've definitely been a member. I just don't find it to be the that there's any specific knowledge there that gives it any kind of superiority over any other type of religious experience or activity. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of see them all the same. I'm fascinated. I mean, I'm a huge fan of religions. I think you are too. I mean, especially ancient religions is kind of a big thing for you.
Well, any religion, anybody that's pulling out Jainism is pretty much a fan of religion, probably.
I study them. I bet it freaks people out when they come into my house, because I've got all of the major religion books, and they're all on the same shelf, though. And all the derivatives too. I collect these things.
The worst result of that is they think you're a seeker and you haven't found yet, so they start proselytizing you.
Oh, dude, I throw them off my front porch like there's no tomorrow. Man, the dick comes out in me real quick. It's like, no, I don't want to join your fucking cult.
Now, see,
Get off my
I
porch.
Like the religions, and I invite them in, and tell me of your
I got
God,
better
Gary.
shit to do, man. I ain't got time for that. Because to me, this is going to turn into a big giant argument, and we know how much I love doing that, right? My superpower, again, is that I can piss anybody off in 30 seconds or less.
Verified.
I said that on Facebook the other day, and my buddy Eric Frone goes, what'd he say? It didn't take you that long when I saw it. I said, maybe I should have said 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
This comes from TheVerge.com. Spotify begins testing curated podcast playlists. A first crack at fixing podcast discovery. So this is all about me.
Fixing podcast discovery.
Spotify is beginning a summer of... we're on Spotify. Ta-da! Spotify is beginning a summer of podcast playlist test. Today, that'll involve the creation of curated episode suggestions around specific genres, according to a source close to the company. Spotify doesn't currently have a way for people to discover new shows, so this is a first step in helping creators find a bigger audience. 5 playlists will start showing up today to around 5% of users in the UK, US, Canada, Mexico, Sweden, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina. The themes include comedy, true crime, geek. That's one of our subcategories.
Which
comedy.
One?
Comedy, yeah. Geek culture, walking, motivational, and relaxing mindfulness. Well, we only two. We hit 2 of those. Geek culture, I think, was definitely be up our alley. The playlists are expected to change over time as Spotify experiments with how to present them, which means they could update at different rates and feature a rotating selection of both Spotify exclusive shows and third-party podcasts. It's unclear how the curators are choosing the episodes, if they are creating deals with networks for placement or just picking content they themselves recommend. So that's probably like editor's choice type shit.
We just went down to the rank 4.
I'm definitely not showing up on there. This is from Science News. I thought you would find this one interesting. A new experiment didn't find signs of dreaming in brain waves. Ooh, Orco R. Knock, knock, knock. By analyzing the neural flickers of dreams, researchers hope to shed light on consciousness. Told you.
Yeah.
In a nighttime experiment called the Dream Catcher, people's dreams slipped right through the net. Looking at all.
This does seem difficult. Did you catch those dreams, Bob? No, sir.
No, sir. Well, they didn't use the right popsicle stick.
Or something.
Looking at only the brainwave activity of sleeping people, scientists were not able to reliably spot a dreaming brain. It's right there.
Again,
the dude's
glad they're out there working on it, though.
The details of that leaky net described May 27th at biorexiv.org, rxiv.org, haven't yet been reviewed by other scientists, and the results are bound to be heavily scrutinized as they run counter to earlier work that described signs of dreams and neural data. The experimental design matters because scientists suspect that dreams hold clues about the deepest mystery of the mind, consciousness itself. Dun, dun, dun. The brain can create rich tapestries of awareness even in the complete absence of incoming information. Studying these instances of brain-created consciousness, which include dreaming, mind-wandering, and daydreaming, quote, is a powerful way to understand the relationship between the brain and the mind. Huh? Like the biological brain and the program running in it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Study says co-author Natsuga Tsuchiya of Monash University in Clayton, a town near Melbourne, Australia. Here we go with Australia again. Man, they make a lot of noise for a country that doesn't exist.
It's a clear sign of misdirection.
That's what it is. It's all part of the deep state.
Yeah.
Tushashia and his colleagues analyzed data generated from 9 people who slept overnight in a laboratory while wearing an electrode cap that measured brain waves. The researchers focused on a stage of sleep called non-REM sleep. Dreams are so abundant during REM sleep that researchers would have been hard-pressed to find enough instances of non-dream sleep to use as a comparison. To identify dreams, researchers employed an irritating method. They would wake a person up once he or she had entered the non-REM sleep and ask whether the person had been dreaming. This just seems like a really bad night's sleep.
I'm still trying to get the correlation between catching dreams and waking. Hey, get up. Did you dream anything?
Hey, when you're in a non-REM sleep, they wake you up and go, "Are you dreaming?" Well, I thought you only dreamed in the REM. There's just so much about this I don't understand.
And what are they trying to prove? If it's
they're saying that they can't find any brainwave activity that indicates that you're having a dream
in that one state.
In that state, yeah.
What difference does that make if you are having dreams in another state? Are they trying to clear it out and make sure? Like, yep, never this state.
Yeah, this is like, hey, we did an experiment and we really didn't figure anything out. I guess no information is still information, right? Or no conclusion is still a conclusion.
Yeah, no conclusion is still a conclusion, but no information is no information.
No, that's not true. A conclusion is a conclusion. Not having a conclusion is not having a conclusion. A failed experiment gives you data nonetheless. That's what I mean. Failure is always an option. Gizmodo, scientists save Schrodinger's cat. That's a big deal. One of the hallmark predictions of quantum mechanics is that particles behave unpredictably, but a new experiment seems to complicate some of those core ideas. Ooh. Researchers were able to predict a kind of atomic behavior called a quantum jump and even reverse the jump in a new experiment on an artificial atom. So not a real atom.
Well, they've been making them.
Wait, they're creating matter?
Yeah, they made the world's smallest logo and the world's smallest functioning bicycle by arranging individual atoms together.
Well, no, but that's taking a piece of matter that already exists. This is saying they created an artificial atom. So it's not a real atom, number one, but that means they created matter. Maybe I'm just getting too hung up on this.
Maybe they just mean that it wasn't real matter. Like it was a simulation. So this is
another one of those.
Like a simulation, yeah.
Proves,
analog
Steve,
simulation.
We're going to hear about Hawking radiation here in a little bit. Quote, our experiment shows that there's more to the story of how quantum mechanics works. Study author, some dude, a researcher at IBM's Thomas J. Watson Research Center told Gizmodo. Quantum mechanics' core assumption is that that on the smallest scale, that'd be the Planck scale, right? Atomic properties are quantized, meaning that particles take on discrete rather than continuous states.
Yep.
Their properties exist along a staircase rather than a jump.
Yep.
For example, an electron can be in a lowest energy state, but if you add a little more energy, it doesn't slowly transition into the higher, newer energy state. Rather, it unpredictably snaps into the new state.
So let me interject that
Yeah.
this is like electrons circling atoms, say at a low energy state, a low orbit. That electron may get hit by a photon, which is an energy-carrying particle, which energizes that electron up to a higher energy state or orbit. And when it goes up to that higher energy state or orbit, it does what was first termed as a quantum leap, because it literally disappears from one orbit and reappears in another orbit. You don't see it going in between.
I think there's a quantum leap article I got pulled up here. I get my news all from the same sources, so it's like feeding me a stream. You can see the kind of shit I read. There's a theme. Okay, so that's where like that TV show came from too.
Scott Bakula.
Yeah, the man. If you're not looking at it, the atom can take on intermediate states, but these aren't midway points. The atom would be in both states at the same time, and then once you observed it, it would immediately snap into one state or the other. So it's not there until you look at it, kind of thing.
Kinda.
Researchers wondered if they could predict these jumps and stop them from happening, according to the paper published in Nature. The team's artificial atom is an experimental apparatus composed of a circuit made from wire that carries the charge without resistance, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, look, we made it out of metal. What? Some pieces in the junkyard? Yeah, some wire, some metal, the stuff atoms are made out of.
Here we go again.
No, they're made out of subatomic particles like the W boson, the Z boson, the gluons. The gluons are what hold the neutrons and the protons together, which is that's the strong nuclear force is what they represent, the force-carrying particle for that.
There's a lot of this kind of stuff, though, this is the headline, scientists save Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, no.
And then you get into it, and it's like, well, we ran
some wood and some wire.
We ran a simulation, with some baling wire and duct tape, and we think we've solved Schrodinger's cat.
Right. That's what it sounds like. I mean,
You lost me, Gizmodo. This is from Big Think. Your brain is not a computer. It's a quantum field.
Yeah.
Now we're getting sexy. By examining our minds at a quantum level, we change them. And by changing them, we change the reality that shapes them. This is some real,
objective reduction.
The irrationality of how we think has long plagued psychology. When someone asks us how we are, we usually respond with fine or good. But if someone followed up about a specific event, how do you feel about the big meeting with your boss today? Suddenly, we refine our good or fine responses on a spectrum from awful to excellent. In less than a few sentences, we can contradict ourselves. We're good, but we feel awful about how the meeting went. How then could we be good overall? Bias, experience, knowledge, and context all can consciously and unconsciously form a confluence that drives every decision we make and emotion we express. Human behavior is not easy to anticipate, and probably theory often fails in its prediction of it. Enter quantum cognition. This is where the hot stuff is. Yeah. A team of researchers has determined that while our choices and beliefs don't often make sense or fit a pattern on a macro level, at a quantum level, they can be predicted with surprising accuracy. Here we go again with the brain shit. In quantum physics, examining a particle's state changes the state of the particle. So, too, the observation effect influences how we think about the idea we are considering.
I mean, that's like saying, think positive.
But they're given like a quantum physics explanation, sort of like wrapping that in like a quantum physics.
Well, that's what Orko R says, is that the reduction is that there aren't multiple universes, that they get pruned off, right? But that your brain, your consciousness has a bit of say in how that's going to happen, how that's going to objectively reduce down to whatever the one thing is, which is the same thing as saying the quantum wave function collapses, or it becomes one thing instead of superimposed. So
See,
the observation effect, and you know.
I find articles kind of like this, though, to be, in a sense, be dangerous in this way, because this is sort of it saying that, if you think positive things will happen.
Yeah.
So that's where that, well, just cheer up shit comes from. You know what I mean? And what this should say is, in the absence of chemical imbalances, brain trauma, blah, 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 blah. So basically, if you have a fully functioning normal brain, whatever the hell that is, right? Then this kind of shit works, but there are pieces of that puzzle that are omitted when you just make these kind of blanket statements.
That's just true, yeah.
Like mental illness is a real thing.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I mean. Like I feel like it should have a proviso or something, providing these things are all true, then this will work kind of idea. But it's going into like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Like they're really wrapping it. There's Stephen Hawking. Schrodinger's cat's in here. Man, they're hitting all this is like buzzword bingo.
See, that uncertainty principle, it sounds really mysterious when you say if the observer affects reality, right? But it's not really the observer as much as it is the things we are using to observe with.
Okay.
So, like the excellent example is what I was talking about with the electron orbiting the atom, right? For instance, let's say you're using, let's say you're using an electron microscope, right? What you're using electrons instead of light. Like normally for a normal telescope or microscope, you're using light, photons, right?
Right, yep.
But they're really big compared to electron. So you use electron, right?
And it gives you the ability to look at things much, much smaller.
Yeah.
Right?
But still, with light and electrons, it's still a force-carrying particle.
Right. You're putting energy into the thing you're observing. So you're changing it.
Yeah.
That's where that whole, yeah.
Yeah, but they make it sound mysterious, like you're somehow connected to the universe in a mystical way, when really it's not. It's like you're using a part of the universe to look at a smaller part of the universe. Imagine it like you have a cup full of pens like you do on your desk, and you're trying to get one pen that's down there in the bottom, or maybe a short pencil, and you're inevitably your fingers in grabbing that one thing.
You're going to knock some stuff out of the way.
Yeah,
right.
It's going to move around, and it's going to be different. And so another part of it is that by the time that the object comes back to you, like the photon or the electron comes back to your device or your eye, then in that time that's coming back, the thing that it hit has went in another direction and at another speed, or has quantum leaped into another state and literally isn't there anymore, so that by the time you observe it and get the information back, it literally isn't wherever you're seeing it at.
So it's gone already.
It's gone some other place, and you don't know where, and you'd have to observe it again.
All of this shit is happening at the speed of light, too, right? Like, it's super, super fast.
Yeah, it's really fast.
No, it's instantaneous. It's not. So when it changes states, it's actually snapping into another state.
Yeah, that's instantaneous. Yeah,
that's like warping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, something kind of energy physically, I guess, is leaving the universe temporarily. That's also the basis of quantum tunneling, too.
Right.
That's the same thing.
We talked about this a couple, the last time, right, was the mythical EM pulse drive engine. That
we talked about that at some point.
It's weird. I think my news app listens to my podcast.
Maybe
because it's feeding me the shit. That's a little scary. A mythical form of space propulsion finally gets a real test. This is from Wired. Since the birth of the space age, the dream of catching a ride to another solar system has been hobbled by the tyranny of the rocket equation, which sets hard limits on the speed and size of the spacecraft we sling into this cosmos. Elon Musk is like, it's not a big deal, man. It's just like math. If you want to put something big in space, you need a lot of rockets. Even with today's most powerful rocket engine, scientists estimate it would take 50,000 years to reach our closest interstellar neighbor, Alpha Centauri. If humans ever hope to see an alien sunrise, transit times will have to drop significantly. Of the advanced propulsion concepts that could theoretically pull that off, few have generated as much excitement and controversy as the EM drive. First described nearly 2 decades ago, the EM drive works by converting electricity into microwaves and channeling this through electromagnetic radiation through a conical chamber In theory, the microwaves can exert force against the walls of the chamber to produce enough thrust to propel a spacecraft once it's in space.
Yeah, great in a vacuum, terrible on the planet.
Well, you're going to break orbit with it.
You're not going to get off the ground.
At least not
all.
with the yields they're getting right now.
You won't get an inch off the ground.
At this point, however, the EM drive exists only as a laboratory prototype, and it's still unclear whether it's able to produce thrust at all.
So everything that we just said and just wrote is absolutely unclear.
Yeah.
We don't even know that's actually anything we just said is happening.
Because as I understood it, I thought they had figured it out and said it was not violating any of the laws of physics. But now here they're like, I don't know if this thing even fucking works.
As Tom Waits said, the big words giveth and the little words taketh away.
If it does, the forces it generates aren't strong enough to be registered by the naked eye, much less propel a spacecraft.
Is that another way of saying, hey, man, if we ain't... If it's moving, we can't see it.
I love finding out how full of shit I really am about something, right? Good Lord. I thought this was much further along than that. Over the past few years, however, a handful of research teams, including one from NASA, claim to have successfully produced thrust with the EM drive. Ha-ha, vindicated.
Claims.
True. If true, it would amount to one of the biggest breakthroughs in the history of space exploration.
If true, it would be awesome. Another way of phrasing that last line. Dude, if this was true, it'd be fucking awesome, dude.
If you what was that Matthew McConaughey? It'd sure be cooler it'd be cooler if you did, you know. The problem is that the thrust observed in these experiments is so small that it's hard to tell if it's actually real.
This is like a Ouija board.
So
dude, are you moving it? Are you moving it?
Was that
I'm
you?
not moving it.
Dude, stop moving. The resolution lies in designing a tool that can measure these minuscule amounts of thrust. So a team of physicists at Germany's Technische Universität.
Wait. Are you telling me there's a whole, scientist working on inventing a thing that's going to detect the thing that might be invented?
You got it, buddy.
Okay, thanks.
Set out to create a device that would fill this need. Led by physicist Martin Tajmer, the Space Drive project aims to create an instrument so sensitive and immune to interference that it would put an end to the debate once and for all. In October,
moving or not, you can't just drive a stake.
No shit. In October, Tajmer and his team presented their second set of experimental EM drive measurements at the International Astronautical Congress. There's all these congresses, man. And their results will be published in Acta Astronautica this August. Based on the results of these experiments, Tajmer says a resolution to the EM drive saga may only be a few months away.
So you know what that means? If it isn't moving,
then they're going to have to build another tool.
Well, yeah,
that one obviously wasn't
maybe
good
that
enough.
too. But if it's not moving, that means that they have successfully published the smallest increment. Right? They're like, hey man, it is moving. It's just really small, and here's the number it's moving at. But if it's not moving, then the only thing they've accomplished is that they've only published one of the smallest measurements that they proposed to have found.
Right.
It just seems silly.
We did it. It moves.
Like 0.0000001.
Right now, it's completely pointless, but we did it. Things got to be. Come on, man. Things got to be refined. I want EM drives. I need it. It has to happen.
I want ones faster than what they're making.
Well, you got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah.
Baby steps, or in this case, like neutron.
Proxima Centauri.
This comes from CNET. Fake news is thriving thanks to social media users, study finds. Also, and most Americans think the problem will get worse. Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites have been stepping up their efforts to combat the spread of fake news on their platforms, but that hasn't stopped Americans from sharing misinformation. Turns out U.S. adults who prefer to get their news through social media are more likely to share fake news than those who prefer to get news via conventional methods such as newspapers, TV or websites, according to a study released Wednesday by the Pew Research Center. About 60% of U.S. adults who prefer getting their news through social media said that they had shared false information. So they admit it. I guess that's a step in the right fucking direction, right? But the situation was only a little better with U.S. adults who preferred conventional media, such as newspaper and TV. Of that group, 51% said that they had shared fake news. Both groups were about as likely to encounter fake news often, the study found. So everybody's full of shit. Is what this is kind of getting at,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't matter where you get it from.
It's a shit slinging fest with everybody full of shit and a shit show.
God, too much information. The findings were part of a 72-page report that show Americans see fake news as a problem that needs to be fixed. The Pew Research Center surveyed more than 6,000 U.S. adults from February 19th to March 4th for the study. As part of the survey, Americans were asked how often they got news from social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or Snapchat. About 2/3 of Americans said they came across altered images or videos sometimes or often. The issue has prompted renewed concern since doctored videos of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi making her appear drunk spread on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
72 pages of shit from Pew.
It's all very poetic, is it not?
Yeah.
One version of the video on Facebook appears to be gone, even though the social network has denied pulling it down. Most Americans blamed political leaders and activists for spreading misinformation. You mean politicians are full of shit?
You mean the people that admitted to sharing the fake news blames the politicians?
Yeah.
For the news?
So Pew says that politicians are full of shit. They also thought journalists had more of a responsibility to help fix the problem. Only 9% of U.S. adults thought tech companies carried the most responsibility to reduce the amount of misinformation out there. Well, that's good. Because, man, you don't want private organizations editing shit or censoring shit. Shit, that can get a little weird. Already has. Most Americans, about 56% of U.S. adults, also think the problem of made-up news will get worse over the next 5 years, according to the survey. Quote, while Americans want the issue of made-up news addressed, they are also conscious of the huge challenge posed by partisan divides in our country today, challenges that are pronounced in the level of blame members of each party place on the news media, said Amy Mitchell, the Center's Director of Journalism Research in a state. Hey, y'all, the internet's full of fucking fake news. Public service announcement.
Yeah, that's beware.
Gizmodo, I thought you were going to laugh your ass off at this one. This Windows flaw was so bad, even the NSA is begging you to update.
Okay.
Look at this guy with his hands. Sorry. Steve Ballmer. It's not every day that the National Security Agency urges you to update your computer. 3 weeks ago, a critical Windows security vulnerability known as Bluekeep was revealed and fixed. In that short time, Microsoft has repeatedly begged users of older Windows versions to make sure their machines are up to date. The company even released fixes for Windows XP, Server 2003, and Vista. A slate of
Damn, they went back to the XP fix?
I know. That's how bad it is. They go all the way back to XP.
Ow.
Bro, you have no idea how many industrial processes still run on
XP,
computer.
oh yeah, there's a lot.
It was in the late 90s. We were well into the Pentium age. And I had like a bunch of old 486 processors because I used to sell, because the shit used to be so expensive. Now it's not, but so I would keep this stuff like, I don't know, man, I might need a 486 processor. And I actually had a customer that had computers that were still running like heat treating processes and stuff off of 486 computers where they needed the computers. So they bought the processors from me for like a boatload of money. Like I made good money off of these. I sold like 6 of them. Boatload for the time.
Sure, yeah.
You know? Yeah, they went all the way back to XP. Yeah, a slate of unsupported operating systems that usually don't get much attention. Now it's an American intelligence agency echoing Microsoft. Recent warnings by Microsoft stress the importance of installing patches to address a protocol vulnerability in older Windows versions. The NSA advisory read, Microsoft has warned that this flaw is potentially wormable. That's a freaking thing. Meaning it could spread without user interaction across the internet.
Oh, the AI is out.
We have seen that's how they're going to get out.
It is,
right
really.
there.
It's like, you can't have this shit. You got to shut this shit down. Do this now.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, he'd be hiding in someone's computer from the 70s.
Laying dormant, waiting to be reactivated again. We have seen devastating computer worms inflict damage on unpatched systems with wide-ranging impact and are seeking to motivate increased protections against the flaw. And then they show me some Twitter stuff from this guy from the NSA. The NSA is on Twitter. How poetic is that? In addition to its more famous offensive mission of global electronic surveillance, that's a polite way of saying it, the NSA is also tasked with defending U.S. networks. The NSA Cybersecurity Recruitment Center Requirement Center authored the advisory, which listed out impacted systems and directions for mitigation. Hey, y'all need to update your shit. Actually, you need to just get off of those old platforms first, but
don't broadcast your government from a corporate platform like Twitter or Facebook, maybe. I don't know.
It just wouldn't be a show if I didn't bring some sort of doomsday bullshit involved in it, right?
I just love the idea that it could just be something that's gotten out of hand from the CIA or something, and they're like, "No, you really need to make this update so you don't have this problem. It's going to be bad."
You know, if there was like a solar mass ejection, like an EM event, and it wiped out all electronics on the planet,
yeah,
would we build them back the same way?
I don't know.
Knowing what we know now, you know what I mean? Would we recreate? Because we're going to have to rebuild everything. Satellites, everything would have to be redone, right? Because it's going to knock all the satellite electronics out. Like,
I think it would take time, but I think it would be different, done differently, done better.
Wouldn't you think satellites would be highly insulated against EM events? Because they're in space,
Probably
you know what I mean?
Some of them are, like the government ones and spy satellites, but I don't know about like.
Of course, those are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about like communication satellites and stuff that. They were looking for really cheap shit when they put that up there early on. There's a lot of old communication satellites.
I know solar storms and stuff affect satellites. Remember back in the BlackBerry days when all of a sudden your BlackBerry wouldn't work because the sun was hiccuping or something, but then it would come back.
Yeah,
after it was done.
Sunspots.
Sunspots, right?
Cycle of 11 years. Every 11 years they go up and down.
I normally don't do like pop culture stuff, but this one was big for me because this is my evil twin. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Former Mythbusters host Adam Savage returning to Science Channel in new series. A lot of people think I look like him when I have glasses and goatee. I actually, on Facebook, I would take pictures of him and put it up as my profile picture to see if people would notice. And a lot of people never even noticed.
Really?
Like, finally, one of my friends wrote to me and went, "I really had to look at that to realize that wasn't you." So Adam Savage, you're like my long lost twin brother out there, man. I really want to, we got to get together and figure this out, bro. He will take on the biggest and baddest builds of his career in Savage Builds, which is set to debut in June. Adam Savage is returning to Discovery and Science channels with a new series, Former Mythbusters and Unchained Reaction. Co-host will take one of the biggest and baddest builds of his career. We already said that. The 8-episode series, which will premiere on Science and then air afterward on Discovery, finds Savage combining his insatiable curiosity and nearly unparalleled inventiveness as he attempts to build working, innovative items such as 3D printed titanium suits of armor inspired by Iron Man films that actually flies, or experiments with highly volatile liquid nitroglycerin. That sounds like fun. Anything that's highly volatile and has nitroglycerin in it sounds like that's like a redneck weekend, man. Sign me up. Each episode will focus on one project as Adam collaborates with notable experts in their fields, friends, colleagues, and others. Quote, "I've spent my life trying to create, and push the boundaries of what's possible," said Savage. "This new series is a culmination of sorts as I get to work with some of the most brilliant minds out there as we attempt to solve really absurd ideas that I've had in my head for a long time, but have never had the opportunity to dive into until now. And of course, the most absurd ideas are often what generate the most innovative engineering." Episodes include Savage's attempt to create a working version of one of history's most notorious engineering failures, the British military's World War II rocket-propelled explosive weapon, the Great Panjandrum. Helping with the design is the lead engineer of the Mars Science Lab's EDL entry descent landing phase, NASA engineer Adam Steltzner. I am so watching this. Steltzner. For the titanium Iron Man inspired suit, Adam enlists Richard Browning, famous for his gravity jet suit. I think those guys, they just did like 3 at once here recently, which is powered by 5 1,000 horsepower mini jet engines strapped to the body. Yeah, they were like flying around each other. They had like a group of 3 of them. I just saw that on like Facebook or something here this week.
They're about 20 years behind, but good job. It's supposed to be year 2000, right, with hover cars?
Right. We're not. Well, that's the EM drive that you were shitting all over a little bit ago, man. That's where it's going to come from.
That's what I'm saying. It's shitting all over because it's 2020 and practically nothing.
We
No hover
finally
cars.
got jetpacks. The problem with them is they burn up so much fuel. You get like a 5-minute flight, and then you're like,
Right.
"That's it."
It'll take longer to fall if you.
You have to like air to. You're gonna have to air refuel somehow, like tank up in the sky. Inventor, maker, and roboticist Simon Gertz and maker Laura Kampf help Adam build 3 Mad Max-inspired post-apocalyptic monsters of destruction using only junk cars and the materials they can salvage from a scrapyard. Yeah, there used to be a show that did that. Junkyard Wars.
I liked that.
That was a really good show. Yeah, I loved it. Adam's enthusiasm for science is contagious, says Nancy Daniels, chief brand officer at Discovery and Factual. Savage Builds is the perfect showcase for him to do what he loves to do on a scale that hasn't been done before.
That sounds fun.
It was weird when that show ended, Mythbusters ended, because people were. I thought those two guys were like really good friends. And,
Yeah, but didn't they have a falling out or something?
No, I don't know that they actually. Okay, I guess as I understand it, it was true. It was totally a business relationship and only a business relationship. Like Adam Savage was quoted as saying he'd never once had gone out to dinner with Jamie Heineman, like outside of work or anything like that, or when they were traveling. So their relationship with each other was strictly professional only. They didn't really have a friendship. They just they worked together in Hollywood. I think that's got more to do with Jamie Heineman. He seems to be like one of those guys that's not real approachable. He's sort of a savant in a way that does his own thing. But show just wasn't the same without him. I've seen the stuff that the other guys are doing, and it just doesn't doesn't have that same sizzle, right? All right, man. So that's the last article, bro.
Okay.
Got anything else you want to cover?
No.
No?
I got to get on the road.
All right, let's wrap that up there, folks. I appreciate everybody listening tonight. Thanks for coming in again, man.
My pleasure.
Check us out at www.noshitcast.com. It's KNOWSHITCAST.com. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you address any grievances to Eric Smith.
That's me.
Make sure to give us a rating on iTunes, etc. Man, give us some stars, folks. It helps. Puts us up higher in the listing. If you like what we do, please share us. It would be greatly appreciated. And we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Bye.